This is the Sales Babble Podcast, episode 464, Supple Selling for Sales Success.
Welcome to Sales Babble, the podcast that shares selling secrets for non-sellers. And now your host, Pat Helmers.
Hello, Sales Babblers. This is Pat Helmers, and this is the podcast that embraces the effortless action and Taoist style of non-pushy sales. Today, we investigate flexible selling. For example, we don't let little kids drink out of glass. Why? Because if they drop it, it'll shatter in a million pieces. But what happens when a child drops a plastic sippy cup? It bounces. They're soft and supple. They'll last forever. In fact, your child will outgrow it before it wears out. But what's this got to do with sales? What can a flexible, supple, accident-forgiving sippy cup teach us? That's the topic for today. But before we start, make sure and subscribe to the podcast on whatever app that you're listening to, and also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and myself, Pat Helmers, on LinkedIn. You can find links in the show notes. And now today's chapter. Bend. Don't break. The master seller takes a balanced approach. They are never stubborn with fixed opinions. Because they are tolerant of difficult prospects, they are supple like a field of wheat, bending to the buyer's whims, giving answers to even the silliest of questions. No deal is impossible for them because they let go of fear. They care for the needs of the customer, like a parent. This is called deep roots. They have longevity with this foundation. They have lasting success. And now today's story. Honestly, Lee was a difficult prospect with fixed opinions stuck in the past. Chris struggled to connect and show the possibilities of the new services package, but after 3 sales meetings, Chris reached out to Pat in frustration. Chris started, "This deal is a hot mess. Lee asks dumb questions irrelevant to the product. Lee's thinking makes 0 sense. I don't know what to do to advance the sale." Pat smiled. "I can understand your concern, but maybe it's you who has the issue." "Oh," said Chris. Pat went on. "What do you think really matters to Lee? Revenue, profit, cost, time? What's crippling the company?" "I'm not sure," said Chris. Pat then said, "Instead of using the slide deck trying to persuade Lee, take a more parental point of view. Spend more time looking for their owies, soothing their pains, discovering their desires, telling them that everything's going to be all right and we've got their back. It's like they say, the soft and supple grasp bends, stiff and brittle, it snaps. You're snapping." Chris laughed. Yes, I guess that's true. Pat then finished, "Why not set aside selling for a moment and help Lee out of Lee's troubles, whether it makes a sale or not? That's what extinguishes fear and makes for lasting success." According to Lisa J. Morris, quote, "Achievement is often a balance between following through a well-made decision, accepting the process, while embracing flexibility until its completion." I agree. This quote goes hand in hand with letting go of control. Stop planning. Stop trying to control how things will go and what the outcomes will be. Life never goes according to plan, so why stress out worrying about the future and then worrying about the past when the plans go wrong? Sell in the moment with no fixed outcome in mind. Let things happen and be content with what happens. Sell, of course, but do it because it gives you joy. That's the path of supple selling. Now, to download a copy of this week's Tao of Sales Babble chapter, you can find it in the show notes at www.salesbabble.com. And while you're there, you can sign up for our brief weekly newsletter with links to the podcast conveniently in your inbox. Next, if you could do me a favor and share this episode with a friend who's interested in growing their selling skills, please do. Just one friend, that's all it takes to help grow the podcast. Lastly, if you have any questions about this episode or any other past episode, don't hesitate to reach out. Find me on LinkedIn or click the Babble Me link on the website. With that said, that's all we have for this week. Until next Tuesday, take care. Have a highly successful and a profitable selling day.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Babble podcast. Find us at www.salesbabble.com.
This is a production of Habanero Media.